Coming up on episode 175, Pokemon Home, a Nintendo Direct, Who's That Mythical Pokemon, and much, much more on the 8-Bit Adventures podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the 8-Bit Adventures podcast, bringing you the latest and greatest geeky news of the week. I am your host, Sean Hayes, and with me are both of my wonderful co-hosts, as always, Courtney Bolin.
Hey, everybody.
And back from the dead like your boy, The Undertaker, one Josh York.
The ritual is complete. I am risen from the depths.
That's not concerning at all.
No.
So, yeah, we are back. We got a whole bunch of Nintendo news this week, and Josh threw some other
Just some rando stuff.
Interesting stuff coming in here, and we got a lot to talk about on Questlog. So
Yes.
let's get right into it with some of the. We'll start with some of the quicker news announcements. For those of you that have bought The Witcher 3 on Switch, it updated to 3.6, where it now includes basically a toggle between performance mode and graphics mode. So you can decide if you're willing to have improved graphics and reduce the frame rate, you can do that, or you can focus more on frame rate and keep the same graphic quality that's been on Switch. More importantly, is it now has cross saves with GOG and Steam.
That's so weird.
So if you've been playing on Steam, like I have, you can now basically import your Steam saves, your Steam Cloud saves, onto Switch, and basically play the same game. And then your progress on Switch will also carry over to Steam.
Yeah, that's amazing. I don't know how that works, but that's
awesome.
So I know I had to... so you basically connect to your Steam account from the game on Switch.
Okay.
So it's got something to do with the network code with that.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Yeah, we are truly living in a magical time, folks.
Yeah, I guess so.
So, yeah. So
awesome.
that basically launched this week. So that's pretty exciting. Much more exciting, I think, than the different graphics modes.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. Up next, so for everybody that's been clamoring and thirsty for a Nintendo Direct, we're getting one this week focused on Animal Crossing. You wouldn't believe every time like Nintendo would...
are so thirsty for Animal Crossing.
Nintendo would say something, like anything. It could be like, oh, hey, here's Doug Bowser's sandwich that he ate today. And people would be like, when's the Direct? Ah! And it was just like, because of, I guess, like traditionally there's always been a Q1 Direct to talk about games like coming out before E3. Everybody's been like counting down the days and everything,
just,
and like
Animal Crossing only one.
I know the focus is going to be on that, but there may be some other minor stuff in there.
I mean, I will say I like
it makes sense because
color Joy-Cons, but
I know, and they're only available in Japan if you don't buy the bundle.
So you're gonna have to import.
Probably. I'm sure Amazon will have them.
Of course.
Somewhere. But yeah, so that's happening on Thursday, I believe.
Okay.
At 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And they're also going to announce another Fire Emblem character for Smash, I heard.
No, Sakurai has actually come out and said, like, he thinks there are too many.
I think there's too many.
Yeah. But that largely comes from Nintendo. Although he did say that if Fire Emblem Three Houses had come out like a year earlier, Byleth just would have been a launch character instead of a DLC character.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But yeah, so we'll actually finally get some more information on Animal Crossing, which is great because it comes out in like 3 4 weeks.
Something like that, yeah.
March 20th.
Yeah, because it was going to come out near Final Fantasy VII before they moved Final Fantasy VII to April.
Yep. Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
Real quick, speaking of Fire Emblem, did you guys talk about the DLC that came out last week for it? With the new fourth hidden house?
I think we talked about it when it was announced. When it was announced,
but
we haven't talked about it since it launched. So
Just
yeah,
quick,
but secret abyss house.
Yeah, there's a bunch of kids they keep locked in the basement. That's the fourth house basically, and they're all like extra weird compared to the weirdos that we already have in the 3 houses.
They keep a bunch of goth kids locked in the basement, and then you can recruit them.
Much.
That is the Abyss DLC.
Yeah, there's only 4 of them, and it sounds like there's just like a few side missions that run with the story that, in addition to just get added into the story in the first half of the game.
I presume it's sort of like the character specific ones.
There's like a quick I think there's like 3 or 4 mission story for their house.
Okay.
And it introduces them, goes through a quick arc, and then they're into the game basically.
Yeah.
And then there's a bunch of like personal quests for them and stuff and whatnot, and paralogs and all that.
You keep the creepy kids locked in the basement.
Yep.
I think they're just a little extra, these kids.
Well, it's also it's supposed there's a town underneath Garreg Mach called Abyss.
So this is my question. Is it like, are we talking like Slytherin where like the kids are in the dungeons? Or are we talking like Hufflepuff where like these kids are just chilling like down by the kitchens?
Courtney, there's a subterranean town underneath Garreg Mach called Abyss. And that's where they're from.
Yeah, they're just, from what it sounds like, it's just like they're like the weird kids.
Yeah.
From what it describes. So probably more Hufflepuff, I guess.
I guess Black Eagles would be more like Slytherin, actually.
They would be, but you know what I mean? Like, is this like the like...
But here's the problem.
We choose to be, or is this Hufflepuff like, no, guys,
here's the problem, though, is Golden Deer is Hufflepuff. Because it's literally just the rest of them.
I guess.
And Blue Lions is Gryffindor.
Yeah, sure.
And there really is no Ravenclaw faction in this game.
I guess, I don't know. I don't know how the parallels because I don't know Harry Potter well enough to know the distinction between all the houses. So
yeah.
But
it's basically
parallel.
Gryffindor's courage.
I get that.
Yeah, and Ravenclaw's.
I kind of know the basics.
Yeah.
His intellect.
Hufflepuff is where all the chill folks be at. Because their common house or their common rooms are off of the kitchen. It's like, guys, we're just gonna chill and have the munchies and just like be.
But I would say if you're looking to do another playthrough of 3 houses, now's a good time.
Yep.
I think it's
that and the sauna.
Oh yeah.
The sauna's been unlocked. I did see Joe Ziza, who voices Claude, like play through and basically like go to the sauna kind of a thing, and like it's a weird,
we're getting
like button rhythm game to like manipulate the steam and the heat and everything or whatever, and all it does is it just boosts affinity between characters.
Okay. So it's kind of like Tea Party.
Kind of, yeah.
Which I never did. I never did tea parties. I hated it.
I basically it was I would go to like there was a wiki site that basically fed you all of the answers for tea parties, but because I did it because tea parties are the primary way that you boost your charisma stat for leadership, but it's also required to get that in order to recruit Dorothea, which if you're not playing Black Eagle, you need a high leadership stat to recruit her. So, and then once you recruit her, you then continue going to tea parties to boost her charisma stat.
When I played the other houses, I made a point not to recruit kids from other houses because I wanted it.
You wanted to be pure.
Yes, and they needed to fight each other to the death in the second half of the game.
My second playthrough, I tried to recruit just as many people as possible. It was just like, I don't care. I don't even care if I'm going to use them in the second half of the game. I just want them. I want them all back.
I just remember the first time I played through, and like you had to actually like kill the kids from the other houses in the second half. I was like, oh, I'll let them go. I didn't want, like, I like them. I don't want to kill them.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you have to.
Yeah. It's, like, well, it's only if you recruit them.
This is how every playthrough is meant to be played for me, I guess.
So it's, so like there are ones that you recruit that just like come back immediately. And then I guess there's ones that are integral to the story that like if you had recruited them, you then have the option to spare them and then they come join you.
Yeah.
Like I think Ash is one of them. Like he's really early on.
Yeah.
So yeah. At least if you're playing Golden Deer.
Interesting.
But yeah.
So how's Pokemon Home? Is it the best thing ever?
So Pokemon Home's pretty useful.
Yeah, Sean, I know that we did some trading so that you could have your living Pokedex.
Yeah, so Pokemon Home is basically going to be where the National Dex resides now. And it's where you do your global. So it's what's weird is you can only do the global trade station and the random trades and everything from the mobile app. You can't do it from the Switch app.
Yep.
Which strikes me as a little odd. I mean, it's
they
fine.
Want you utilizing both.
Yes, they do. Because in order to connect to specific games, is you have to use the Switch app. But what I do like is it's an improvement over Pokemon Bank in that once you get it set up, there's not a whole lot of like, connecting. You have to like wait through like 4 different screens to connect to servers and things like that. It's just a lot more seamless now. And I mean, right now I was pulling Pokemon out of Let's Go Pikachu into Home and then transferring them right into Sword. And it was a very seamless process, which was nice.
Nice.
So, but yeah, they have that. I've been doing some random trades. I did successfully do some global trade station stuff. And what I like is they kind of remove the need to like set up specific boxes in Home because you can set up filters for your Pokemon. So like I used to be the absolute maniac and set up my boxes so that they were organized by Pokedex number. Which meant that like if one place was off, I had to go back and redo all of my boxes. Now what I can do is since I didn't want to do that for Home, and because like they automatically sort by Pokedex number for you if you wish. Is adding tags for things like what region they come from, whether they're shinies, legendaries, mythics, stuff like that. Whether, this one's okay to trade. I have that on there, so that way I can very easily like just click that label, look it up, and then be like, okay, so this is the pool of Pokemon that I have available to send out to people. So that's nice. I think I'm really going to start to get full functionality out of it when you're able to import from Pokemon Go. Because I know I have a ton of Pokemon that I need for my Pokedex that are just sitting in Go, not doing anything. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so the interface seems pretty good. Usability is pretty decent there. I like the design and layout of it. So yeah, it was a little difficult to learn the label system and to get that working. But yeah, now that I have that, it's all smooth sailing.
It's pretty seamless now that you've got it.
Yeah, it's not too bad. So I know some folks will still have gripes with it, especially over the fact that it costs a whole $16 a year instead of $5 a year for Pokemon Bank.
It's like a 300% increase. I mean,
yeah, but at the end of the day, it's still $16 a year.
Hey, that could be the difference for some people.
It could. which
There's
I would
reasons why some
say
of my things that I don't
they
pay
should use
too
the
much
free
for.
account then. Since you can do a free one and it basically has limited features. But you still get basic functionality out of it. And I think most folks that are going to require the use of a paid account are ones that have invested enough in Pokemon that they're probably okay to drop the $16 a year. So, because it's basically to get like thousands of Pokemon deposits, and if you have that many Pokemon, chances are.
I guess here's my question: What does it do? What does this Pokemon Home do?
Storage. It's Pokemon.
So it's just proof that you caught these Pokemon in all the gens.
It's basically Pokemon Cloud storage. So, like in future games,
the old Pokemon in the current game.
So if they appear in Sword, you can port them over. And likewise, so
or if
like
they could appear in Sword, because like you could get a Ponyta. Like, let's just use that as an example, because that's a Shield exclusive.
So you never caught one in Sword or Shield, but you caught it in another gen. You could bring it into Sword and Shield.
Yep. This is also relevant with the expansion packs that are coming out, and they're increasing the number of Pokemon that appear in the game. So you can just port those in.
Say that why they should just have all the Pokemon in the game from forever. My opinion.
I mean.
And make competitive Pokemon a real cluster.
Yeah. I thought there was more of an argument for not doing that before they decided to add another like 250 Pokemon into the game with the expansion packs.
And more.
So it really just sounds like that Game Freak was kind of crunched for time. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's fine. Whatever. I'm kind of over it at this point. Then again, I'm also one away from completing my Galarian Pokedex, so...
Yeah, I realize. Yeah. I'm trying.
But yeah, so Pokemon Home, it does its job. It's, pretty slick. Here's the other thing. No ads. No annoying ad pop-ups or anything like that. And no microtransactions. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Well, I would hope so if you're paying for it, that there's no
microtransactions.
That hasn't stopped people before.
I realize. But for something that is storage, it is storage and the ability to port them over, and I would hope that it wouldn't be microtransactions on top of paying for storage. Yeah.
So, yeah.
But good. I'm glad that that's going well for you.
Yeah.
With the app is working very well.
Yeah. Also, Driz pointed out in the chat, and I have also heard on Nintendo Voice Chat that there's some weird thing going on where it's been discovered that you can like now start importing other Pokemon in the game. Like there was kind of like a stealth update or something. So like Driz was saying, he saw a Mewtwo in a max raid battle. And I heard on NVC that it's like you can import the Sun Moon starters. So I don't know if this was like kind of an update that they... Oh, as an ally. Yeah. But there's some weird thing going on where like you can kind of actually import them from home. Maybe.
I mean, the real question is, do you like Mudkips?
So here's my problem with Mudkip. Is I would be all about Mudkip if it wasn't in the same generation as Trico.
I don't know. I just know that's an old meme.
Mudkip is basically a little cute little like salamander.
I've seen a picture of it
type thing. Yeah. But it also appears alongside the grass lizard. And I'm just like, well, I have to go with the grass lizard. So, Yeah, Gen 3 was my shift from water types over to grass types. Because Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5 were all grass type. And then starting with Gen 6, I switched back to water type. And have continued that trend since then.
There's an actual starter that's other than fire?
Yes, Courtney. Although one wouldn't know because all fire there's only firefighting types. And they're all the same. Is every fire starter just turns into a firefighting sweeper.
Mm-hmm.
Starting with Gen 3. Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yep.
Gotta keep it fuego.
Or not. So next up, so I'm gonna try not to reveal the spoiler, or at least give a warning. So Stranger Things 4 had a trailer.
How's it a spoiler if it is the trailer?
No, when did this happen?
The trailer
like this
is
week.
The spoiler.
Yeah, the trailer is the spoiler, and I'm just like, this is like, I know it's been enough time,
which isn't that much of a spoiler because it was so heavily implied at the end of the season.
Yeah. But basically, so now that we've given you enough warning, so the trailer it's set in Russia, and we're basically at a Russian prison work camp in the snow, and there's prisoners that are like driving down railroad spikes to build a railroad.
Russia, comrades.
Yes.
Wait,
and they have very
wait. Are we talking? Wait. Are we talking Black Widow or are we talking Stranger
We're talking
Things?
Stranger Things 4.
Well, this may be a
but you're on the right track, Courtney. You're on the right track. And at the end of the trailer, we see there's a prisoner who takes their hat off and reveals and it's Hopper.
Hellboy.
Yeah. And it's whatever his character's name is in Black Widow, where he's basically Captain Russia.
Wait, seriously?
No.
He is so basically he's the Russian equivalent of Captain America, but his name's like Red Star or something like that.
Yeah, but in the Stranger Things, it's just Harper.
Yeah, no, it's
It's still okay.
It's just since it ended with it being implied that Hopper was teleported to Russia instead of dying, and then him appearing as a Russian superhero in the Black Widow trailers. Then everybody was like, well, of course, now Hopper's been like expatriated to Russia, and now he's just become a superhero now. Since the timeline would also fit, which is weird. Yeah. So yeah, it was really just kind of a teaser, but I saw that today, and yeah. So I think that's set to come out like around Christmas, I want to say.
I feel like we're jumping the shark here, and that's saying something for Stranger Things. 3 was such a good season.
Yeah.
I keep saying, I said this after the first season, I was like, you just stop. That was perfect. Second season was fine. It wasn't, I don't think it's the best, but it was fine. But I keep saying, just stop. You're gonna
I worry that they're running into, what is it? Well, Game of Thrones resolved that problem, but the problem that Game of Thrones had, where the cast is starting to get like enormous.
Yeah.
Just because they keep adding more and more characters, and we don't know. Although Stranger Things did kill off a bunch of characters too, so
yeah.
I mean, they killed off Bob,
Billy.
They killed off Billy. Although that was kind of they killed off Barb.
Yeah.
So I guess one a season.
And they add how
actually
many?
No, they did have a bunch die off in 3 because they basically became part of the creature.
Oh, they killed a Russian guy.
Oh yes,
I forget his name.
I can't remember his name either. Yeah. Yes. That was actually I think the most impactful one.
Oh yeah.
Well, no, Bob was definitely the most impactful one, but like that one
I didn't
was
care.
Close second.
That character.
What?
I was like, who's this guy and why is he here?
Samwise Gamgee.
Yeah, but he's Rudy.
or Mikey
I was gonna
from
say
the Goonies.
Mikey.
Since they
Well,
actually
for me,
made
it was Rudy
since they
because
made
I
the
watched-
reference to that, yeah.
I watched Rudy like once a month when I was a kid because I wanted to go to Notre Dame and play football when I was a child so badly. It was.
Yeah, I could see that.
It was just a thing.
Yeah, we still don't have an exact release date, but sometime this year.
Okay, so probably Q4 is
Yeah,
what I
that
would
would
imagine.
be my suggestion. Yeah.
Or would Netflix want to do it before then? Because I think that's when Witcher is supposed to come out.
Oh yes,
Season
Witcher
2.
is season 2 is supposed to come out. My thought is another Halloween release.
I mean, that would make sense, but
It would make.
Maybe.
I mean,
I don't know if you've talked
realize-
about the real Fire trailer that came out for Netflix in the past couple of weeks, but the Castlevania season 3 trailer. I mean, that
I missed that trailer. Where did it show up? Because I have not been living under a rock.
I saw it on YouTube.
I have been living under a rock, so I haven't seen it.
It is straight fire.
I can imagine. It definitely.
I will.
Things were definitely in a weird place after season 2.
I've only watched the first 2 episodes of the first season. Actually,
I think I binged it. I'm pretty sure I binged it.
It's pretty easy to binge because the episodes are
yeah.
like standard
they
TV
were-
I should watch it because it's certainly up my alley.
And it basically goes full into everything by the end of season 2.
Yeah.
Right down to basically orchestral like TV versions of Bloody Tears and and Vampire Hunter.
Yes. I remember I did.
And
binge
Alucard and all that stuff.
Yeah.
See, Courtney just binges far too much television. She can't remember what she's binged and what she hasn't.
I don't watch that much.
Season
so I should
2.
Take time to watch.
Season 2 is based for Tales of Jamora fans. Season 2 is basically Jacobin and Vampire Jacobin arguing, and that's the entire season.
Perfect.
Yes.
God, that's so
It's
perfect.
Great.
Yeah.
It's great. So yeah. And then last up for the Nintendo news, Pokemon announced that there's a new mythical Pokemon. It looks kind of like the last one that they did, Zeraora, which is some kind of like electric fighting cat. I forgot that I had it, and I have one. Because it's just like they come and go without a lot of fanfare these days.
Yeah.
But it looks like an evolved form of it. But they just showed a silhouette of this Pokemon, and they're going to reveal it on February 27th. So.
Who's that Pokemon?
Yep.
It's Pikachu.
Not Pikachu.
Diglett.
It's always Pikachu.
It's also definitely not Diglett. As this one has long arms. I mean, it could be your zappy boy Zakan, for all we know.
Hey.
Savior of Azeroth, Zappy Boy Zakan.
Hey, you want to get me into Pokemon? You.
They know how.
Yeah. So. And then Josh, you put in here Oddity.
Yeah.
So what is
so I
this?
put a couple things. I don't know if you had a chance to check out this trailer for this real quick. But for a long time, maybe even since like 2014 or earlier, there's a group making a game, Mother 4, which is Earthbound. If you've ever heard of Earthbound.
Yep.
In Japan, it's called the Mother series. Famously, Mother 3 was never translated and released in the West. But this group of people like wanted to make like a tribute fan game and a sequel. They were calling it Mother 4, but they wised up because Nintendo.
Yep.
And they rebranded it and relabeled it, and it's called Oddity. But when you look at it, it straight up is obviously an homage to Earthbound and the Mother series, and it just looks really good. Homage is perfect.
Yeah.
And it just oozes all the style and heart and everything just from the trailer. You can see it, and it's I think it's obvious that the group really likes the series, and usually these.
So are these indie developers or?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
It's 16-bit style because it's based off Super Nintendo game, but it still looks really good, and it's obviously we're in the year 2020 here, so it looks much better than the Super Nintendo games did, but in the same style. It's worth a look, particularly if you like that series or if you like indie games or that style of RPG. I think it looks really nice and just something I'd like to make people aware of. And then the end of the trailer, it just says it'll be out when it's ready. So they basically don't rush us.
That is a good sentiment.
For years and years, but I think they said it'll be out this year.
Hey, we're working on this.
Yeah, I mean, this trailer shows a lot, so I mean, I'm sure they're well into it, and at this point, just finishing up and polishing and working out bugs would be my guess.
Cool.
Yeah, just something I'd like to make people aware of because it looks really cool. And then the other thing I put down was a game I wanted to talk about. If you ever heard of the Yakuza series?
Yeah,
I have heard of Yakuza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Japanese Grand Theft Auto, but way more bonkers.
Japanese gangsters.
Yeah.
Like.
I guess that's how you can say it.
Yeah.
Open world.
They're Yakuza gangsters.
Guy, and you go around doing lots of like weird mini games. You do karaoke. You go to the casinos, and you go to the batting cage. It's just you can do every mini game. No, legit,
Sean. There's so many weird side games.
But you also just go around beating up everybody on the streets, and it's like wacky and weird. But also the type of almost like Metal Gear Solid, where it takes itself kind of seriously. It's way wacky.
Yep.
And this game's been coming out for a long time. This is the 7th. Installment of it, but this installment they're making it a JRPG, a turn-based JRPG, whereas everything else was like a open world brawler beat 'em up style, I guess.
Yeah.
But so what made me take for April Fool's joke last year, they showed like a JRPG Yakuza, but then they're like, oh, April Fools, we're actually doing it. Double April Fools.
See, I like that kind of April Fool's thing a lot better, is that you do something so outlandish that everybody thinks you're fooling, and then you reveal later, no, we were serious.
Yeah, so like, they did that in April, and then later on the year in like December, they're like, nope, it's for real.
It's kind of like when ThinkGeek would do their
yes,
things,
they would reveal all these
April
Fool's
products would turn real.
Yep.
Those were fun.
So this obviously appeals to me because I'm a big RPG fan and I love my JRPGs, and I like things that are kind of wacky like this. So you add all that stuff together and it's going to be right up my alley. It's got like a whole like job and class system involved and weird stuff, and you recruit people, and again, it's going to have all the mini games like the karaoke and the casino and the whatever, and you want to go play shogi or whatever the heck it is you can do anywhere in that game. But it just, and it's already released in Japan, and I watched some people on Twitch already playing it a little bit, and obviously I couldn't understand what was going on completely because I can't read or speak Japanese. But just watching it, the gameplay looks right up my alley and fun, and it just, again, another thing I want to put on people's radar just because it seems fun and interesting and a little different.
Cool. Awesome.
So yeah.
And that'll be out sometime this year, probably towards the end of the year in the West would be my guess.
Okay. Kind of makes me think of I've heard some stuff about Persona 5 Scramble, which I guess is coming to Switch, and that so the idea is that it's like a
it's gonna be like
collaboration. And it's like it's a collaboration between
Dragon Quest Heroes or something like that. Or
it's like Persona meets Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah,
which got everybody like concerned because like people have been hoping for Persona coming to Switch, and they were like, oh, this is just going to be another Dynasty Warriors game. But apparently it actually has a lot more Persona elements than like your average like Warriors style game.
I like Warrior styles games. If you want to turn your brain off and just beat up a million like people and have fun, those games are great.
Hyrule Warriors apparently was actually pretty decent.
There's a One Piece one I played that was really, really fun.
Nice.
There was, I think they made like Gundam ones back on the PS2. Like again, that's right up my alley. But there's all different types of ones. They're fun.
Yeah, and this is it actually. So like that sort of news and everything got me to watching like more Persona streams just to figure out. I still don't really understand what's going on. Aside from like you're a bunch of high school students and you do stuff like you do in Fire Emblem to boost your stats.
Kind of, and then it's turn-based combat, and you like summon these demons that are like your persona, or whatever. Kind of like you kind of stands, summon stands,
and
another one.
Marie's stand as a motorcycle,
yeah,
or Marie's persona as a motorcycle, which is kind of weird.
And then there's kind of a Pokemon aspect to it too, because you can like collect personas and then combine or breed them or something to make different newer personas and stuff like that.
Okay, that's weird and interesting. All right.
Yeah. I don't know that well. I have Persona 5 on my PS4, and I only played like a couple hours of it. And then for whatever reason, I fell off, even though I kind of liked the game. But I think I'm interested in when the Royal Edition comes out pretty soon.
Yeah.
It's basically... They did this Persona 4. They released Persona 4 Gold, and then it was just like an enhanced version, the definitive edition, I guess. But they're adding like a new character, some new story elements and stuff, and some new things. So I may give it another shot. The one thing I will give that game, its style and art is outstanding. It's like art direction and
very distinct. Yeah.
Very, very on point. It's that game oozes style to be cliche and say things a million people said, but it's so cliche because it's true.
Yeah.
A lot of people who don't like RPGs like that game too. This is another pretty common thing. So that's one I think I'll give another shot probably eventually. I just hate I don't like the whole or high school kids thing. I usually don't like that.
Yeah.
You don't like that trope?
No.
Yeah. So that basically wraps up the news for this week. So why don't we talk about what's going on with 8-Bit Adventures? All right, so point of order. So due to kind of a family emergency, there will be no Dark Matter this week. We're still trying to figure out if we're just gonna do like an off-stream game night kind of a thing, or failing that, there may just be a second Temtem stream, because there will definitely be a Temtem stream on Saturday, but there may be tentatively another one Friday night as well to replace that. I mean, other options might be if we want to do kind of just a weird, like, talk about D&D stream but not play D&D stream. I don't know. But so Thursday this week, so I did alter the stream schedule a little bit. Normally this would be an 8-Bit Adventures Plays week. I decided that since schedule's all weird and everything, and there hasn't really been an art stream, there's going to be an art stream this week. So big thing with that is I have to create a bunch of minis for Jamora coming up. So basically creating papercraft minis. So I'm going to be working on that. And one of the things is, for those of you that have gold, be sure to tune in to that stream, and you'll be able to spend gold to decide what gets worked on. And what I'll do is when the stream starts is I will put up the list. And actually I might make it I'll make it a custom command in chat. So that way you can like look at what the list is by entering in like a special command. So
nice.
But yeah, so I'll be working on minis. I can actually give kind of a basic list right now for those that are listening to the audio podcast or watching live. So these include trees. Need a lot of trees. Because this is keeping with the idea of, so I backed the Geek Tank Games Kickstarter, where they are releasing sort of like printed on plastic, like die cut minis, with like bases and everything, and they include things like barrels, beds, bookshelves, tables, and everything. So it is like, rather than putting all these elements down flat on a map, is you actually have them stand up, so that like you're almost creating like this diorama type thing with a battle scape.
Yeah.
So trees. So little bit of a taste of things to come for folks in the game. Giant crab. Huge giant crab. Giant eel. And then there'll be some other ones that I have yet to decide on. I'm not going to do... There are some other custom ones that I'm not going to do on stream because they're for bosses, and I don't want to reveal what those bosses are. I can tell you what boss it's not going to be is the Kraken, because that one is arriving as part of that Kickstarter package. So yeah, that'll be the art stream for this week. So one of the cool things is I did do some experiments. I'm actually, oh no, they're in a back. So I made some giant sharks. So those look really cool, as well as a custom boss. What I did was there are two ways basically that you can do papercraft minis. Is you can basically mirror the front, and so that it's basically the front on both sides, which is sort of considered, like if you're going to be a casual papercraft maker, or you can do what some folks like, namely Trash Mob Minis, who is a maker of one of these series of papercraft minis called Serious Business, and you do a backside for your mini on the other side instead. They just make an excuse of that so that they can draw butts all the time, but
too much work.
Yeah, because what you have to do then
is justification to draw butts.
Well, so what you need to do is, in order to get it to line up, because how it works is you take, one piece of artwork here, one piece of reflected artwork here, and then you fold it, and then like glue it together and cut it out and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. Maybe if I'm feeling particularly ambitious, we'll do. So right now out of the list, it would just be the crab, because the backside of trees is just trees, and the eel would likely be the same front and back. I mean, that's the other thing with fish too, is that like it doesn't matter what side you're looking at it, because they're because the best way to do those minis is in with like a silhouette side view, and because fish are sort of bilateral, you're going to see the same thing on either side.
Well, unless you get that fish that has the two eyes on one side. And
but nobody's fighting a dire flounder. That's a lame fight.
Jacobin might.
Jacobin would.
Okay. You touch down on the ocean floor. The flounder hides. The end. I mean, I could see the thing for. Well, no, because a stingray would be. Yeah.
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 Depends on the perspective you're
depends on the perspective. Yeah. Yep.
But
so
anyway, that sounds really cool though.
Yeah, so we make a minis. Another possibility is for Friday is making sound sets in Sirenscape as a stream, making custom Jamora sound sets. So since I have that capability now, but yeah, we'll see. We'll play it by ear. Yeah.
Can you record your own sounds and put them into Sirenscape?
Yes. Well, I can now. So it requires access to the Sirenscape creator. But yes, I mean, I can import, my own music, my own sounds. I can record my own sounds and everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think for now I'm going to stick to what's in there. Because just to once you start trying to pull in other stuff, you get into weird rights issues. And even with, so we were previously thinking about using Game Chops for music. The license for that is you're allowed to play it. Technically with Sirenscape is you're also sampling stuff, and that gets into a whole nother set of different rights. Basically copyright's hard. So, but yeah, this way I'd be able to pull in some of the newer Sirenscape stuff. Which the newer stuff is definitely higher quality than some of the older stuff. So, Also, that I can mix and match sci-fi and fantasy.
Yeah.
So we can add some laser blasts to Tales of Jamora if we want.
That's not terrifying to think about at all.
Yeah. As a reminder, we have merch up in the store.
Yeah.
So be sure to check out shop.8bitadventures.com. There isn't really anything new up there, but it's just a reminder that.
No, but you could get awesome stickers like this.
Yep. We do have Tales of Jamora sticker, as well as a Best Investigator Ever shirt for Sir Muntz. So
this is with the Tales of Jamora sticker. Yes. I still have to put that on something.
Yep.
I'm bad at choosing where to put stickers because they're so permanent.
Yeah, but I mean, they're like, what am I selling them for? Like $250, $350?
Yeah, no, it's not the expense. It's the placement. It's not the expense. I would buy a stack of them and slap them everywhere like a Sugarloaf sticker. But
yeah,
it's the permanency of it, not the losing of a sticker.
Gotta be committed.
Exactly. It took me took me a couple months to put this on the back of my Switch case.
Yeah. And then as a reminder to patrons,
yeah,
you get a 10% discount.
I have my Xbox 360 hooked up. I have stickers on it.
Nice. But yeah, as a reminder
to patrons.
Patrons get a 10% discount on all merch.
Yeah, don't be like me and forget to put that in.
Yep. And then new comic this week. It was kind of a simple one. Chapter 3, comic 21, Reach, where basically I wanted to play around with the idea that since Honed Edge is basically like an animate sword, you know, it has a spirit possessing the sword that has a ribbon attached to it that is part of the sword, so it controls that ribbon as well. What if you had what was basically, you know, we talked about last week, like a dancing sword that had a ribbon. The ribbon attaches, you know, and holds on to you, and now suddenly you have a sword that like you can swing about like as it were on a rope.
Like a chain of like a thing on the chain of returning, but not.
Yeah.
You know.
Or there is actually I recall there being a martial arts weapon that is basically that, where it's a blade at the end of a chain. It's like a popular boss weapon in like ninja games. In like ninja style game, where it's basically like a big like sickle that they put on the end of this long chain and they like throw it around and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so something like that. So that's basically the extent of the tricks to learn. So everybody that thought like that, oh no, like he's gonna get possessed or that he's gonna teach him corrupting tactics or whatever. No, it's just that.
I'm worried about that.
I can hold on to you and you can swing me around and gain increased reach. Violet's not the only sword wielder that can turn their sword into a whip. So.
There we go. That works.
So Driz is asking Kusari Gama. I believe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I just looked it up. That's what it is.
Yeah. The examples that they show in Google aren't as sort of over the top as ones in video games, but that's the concept. Yeah. So next week should be kind of a standard stream schedule. However, at the end of that week, Megan, myself, and Courtney are going on vacation, and so there won't be any streams that first week of March. So just giving everybody enough of an advance warning. With the exception of, as long as I can get the video to upload, Courtney's Oz one-shot that we recorded should be streamed that Friday. So first Friday in March, will be the 6th will be whatever we decided to call it. Adventures in Oz.
Adventures in Oz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun.
I had a great
Yeah, Courtney definitely that Oz is her wheelhouse, and you did a great job running that game.
I was very, very, very nervous the entire time. But
you made up most of it on the fly, and I couldn't tell. So congratulations, you've earned your DM stripes.
I made up all of it on the fly. I said, yeah, I want to go here and here, and that should be enough, right? Yeah, and then they'll do the thing, and no. So. I didn't plan. I didn't have any NPC names. I didn't have any real plan for any of it. There was no plan.
No, it's
for
fine.
Any of it.
Everything went fine. Yeah.
It was great.
I will caution people, there were some audio issues. We seem to keep having this with like our one-shots. I'm going to rectify this situation by just buying another microphone. So that way we just have enough microphones for everybody should we decide to run one-shots. But it was an issue with it was an issue with the lavalier mic. So we have been using sort of table or desktop mics for Dark Matter. And we haven't been running into these problems, but yeah. So Courtney was using a lavalier mic, so unfortunately it would like drift over in one direction, and then it would sound a little underwatery. But we tried our best to fix the issues. So
yeah.
And that is going to wrap up what's going on with 8-Bit Adventures. So why don't we talk about Questlog?
Yeah.
So Josh, as our special guest for the evening, why don't you start?
I've got a list because it's been a while.
Since you just put a lot.
It's been a while.
It's been a while since November.
Yeah, it actually has. So, I got like what I've been playing, what I've been reading, and what I've been watching. So, what I've been watching is really short because I only watched 2 things really. I've been watching the new Picard show.
Oh yeah.
Because I know nothing about Star Trek, and I go in with 0 expectations, so I can't really be disappointed.
Yeah.
Like the real like Star Trek nerds who are like, well, in the Next Generation, this happened, so I don't know why. Because I've seen a lot of that in the reviews for Picard, but I'm like, I don't care. I'm enjoying the show. It's fun enough for me.
Hey.
So I've been watching that. The Mandalorian. Was I still talking about The Mandalorian when I was on here? I finished watching that, obviously. When did that come out?
Mandalorian.
December?
I feel like that ended.
When did that end? I don't remember.
I feel like that ended in December.
Maybe.
It was definitely December because it launched with Disney Plus.
Yeah, everybody knows about that show.
Which was after November.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
So
yeah. And the first season of Vinland Saga, the anime I've been watching, ended too, back in December, January, something like that. And that show is just fantastic. I've talked about it before. So
yeah.
I don't watch that much, so it's like those are the things I'm watching. But I think I'm gonna watch Castlevania here to catch up because I think I'll like it a lot.
Yeah.
Reading, I read a trilogy of books called the First Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie. It's fantasy, but it's a grimdark fantasy. So the world's crap and everybody's an asshole, basically. That's that style of fantasy, which I like quite a bit because it's much more grounded. It's a fantastic trilogy of books. The character writing is awesome. So it's not so much about the overarching story. It's just more about the characters who are kind of stuck in this overarching story and just like how they're personally affected by everything. And it's not so much about the outcome of the big things. It's more about like these mostly 3 people who are deeply like their personal experience, which is great. I like that type of story. So I highly recommend the first Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie. And in fact, I'm going on to read some more books by him that take place in the same world, but are kind of one-shot novels as well, just because I like the way he writes characters so much. Playing, oh my gosh, the list of games. You saw I had my Xbox 360 hooked up.
Yeah.
I'm playing an old RPG I missed that came out in 2008 called Lost Odyssey. Turn-based JRPG. The premise is most of the people in your party are immortals. And they're trying to a lot of them don't fully have their memories, and they're trying to put together what has been going on with them for the past 1,000 years. And it mostly obviously focuses mostly on what's currently happening with them. But what you find out about them is as you go, you get these little short stories. You'll hit a spot and be like, oh, the character's having a dream or a memory about their past, and it'll cut to just text. So you'll read a legit short story, and every short story is usually about them having to deal with death of other people around them while they're obviously not aging and just doing what they're doing. I think it's a very interesting concept of a game and characters and theme as far as what does it mean to live that long? What does it mean to have to deal with so much death and see so much death while never having to face it yourself? The game itself is meh. it's fine. The guy who made it, he was the guy who created Final Fantasy. He left Square Enix. He did this and might have done the last story as well.
That would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a bunch of games all came out in 2008, 2009 ish, 2007. They were all made by his studio. This was one of them. Came out on the 360. Lost Odyssey. It's fine. I don't know if I'll actually finish it. I'm pretty close to the end, but we'll see. Some of the characters just are annoying. Some of them are good, but it's not quite hooking me. A game I did play and beat on PC is called Indivisible. Have you heard of this, Sean? Indivisible.
I think we talked about it.
I might have brought it up.
Either you brought it up or we talked about it maybe at one of the E3 recaps.
Maybe. It is the guys who made only one other game called Skullgirls. It's a fighting game called Skullgirls.
Okay.
It's kind of an RPG-ish game, but it's also a platformer.
Yeah.
As well. So I don't know how to describe it, but it's really, really good. All hand-drawn characters and animations for attacks and stuff, and the platforming, it's really, really good. Highly inspired by I would guess Indian or Central Asian kind of religion and ideas.
Yes, I remember. So I think it was that I saw this on Steam. It was recommended to me on Steam, and I really like the art style.
I think you would like the game quite a bit. It's great. So the combat is you have 4 people in your party, and each of your 4 main buttons on your controller corresponds with each of your party members, and they get a certain amount of points, which means how many attacks they can do. And it's almost kind of like a fighting game where I guess you could say Smash, where you do a direction on your stick and the button, and they'll do different variations of attacks.
Yeah.
So kind of like your different smashes, I guess. But the goal is to link together combos between all your characters' attacks to get the most damage. And then that's half the game, and the other half of the game is pretty, and this is me because I hate platformers, pretty easy platforming puzzles that are enjoyable enough. They're not so hard that it's you want to quit. It's not like Super Meat Boy, but it's just enough a challenge for me in platforming. And it's okay, not to give up, and then I'll figure it out after a couple tries. And
are we talking World of Warcraft platforming challenges?
No. And I guess you could say it's kind of like a Metroidvania in some respects.
Oh, okay.
Your character gets different powers and power-ups to be able, and then you can explore different routes.
Okay, so there's still real platforming.
Yeah.
Unlike
legit
WoW's platforming challenges.
No. It's legit platforming. It's just it's not so crazy that I wouldn't be able to do it if it was Super Meat Boy or something, or even what's that game that came out last year? Celeste was a big one that came out last year that everyone
liked. Yeah. Yeah,
right? Or
yeah.
even
Celeste
Ori in the
is.
Blind. I might be able to do Ori. Ori looked okay, but
Yeah.
it's low enough on the platforming level where like even a person like me who hates platformers was cool. But it was more about the combat and like that type of stuff because it was almost like playing a fighting game.
Okay.
And I just really liked all the hand drawn art and everything in it. So it was super, super good. Story was pretty simple, but it was great. And like, there's like a ton of different characters you can recruit, and so it's kind of fun picking your favorites. And each one is totally different in the style of their attacks and how they synergize with your other party members. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend that game. I almost got like 100% complete on it for achievements in Steam. Only missing like 2.
Nice.
It was good. I played some Warhammer Total War 2 just because orcs is best and it's fun to be orcs rampaging through war. I love Warhammer orcs. They're my favorite orcs.
And I keep seeing Pathfinder Kingmaker.
Yeah. So
pop up on Steam every now and again.
Yeah, I've been playing that a ton recently. Before that, I was like, you know what? I never played all the expansions for Deadfire, Pillars 2.
Oh, yeah.
So I downloaded all those X packs and played through 2 out of the 3 of them just because I wanted to experience them. My game was already at max level and everything, so it was just to kind of see the story. And they were interesting and fun. I was like, oh man, I really kind of want to play a CRPG. I got kind of the itch to really get into it. And I just saw this game, Pathfinder Kingmaker, and I'd seen it a bunch, and I'd always thought about it. I was like, no, I'll pass. Because it's Pathfinder. I'm not really a Pathfinder person. I like D&D. And I'll look at visually, it looked really good. And then the Kickstarter came out for like the new one, Path of the Righteous or whatever, or Wrath of the Right, whatever it is. I was like, I'll check it out. If they're doing a sequel, it must have been all right enough to get a sequel. So I looked up some reviews and stuff, and I was like, oh, this looks pretty cool. So I'm like, I'll get it. And I'm like, I'm all in. So much so that my new D&D campaign is highly, highly based off this, the idea of this game. So, it's obviously it's a CRPG, but it feels much more like playing D&D than Pillars of Eternity does to me.
Okay.
It just feels more like I'm playing a tabletop game than Pillars did. And that, don't get me wrong, I love Pillars of Eternity and Pillars of Eternity 2, like 2 of my favorite games of the last decade.
Yeah.
This game just feels like playing D&D more to me. And that's both good and bad in some ways, and for me. Because Pillars, I just feel like I'm playing a game, and it's its own thing. It's its own rule system. It's not based off D&D 5e or Pathfinder.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't help that like Pillars, the abilities, like your ability scores, all do like weird things.
Yeah, and I feel like in Pillars, every class gets a lot of different abilities and things they can do.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, kind of, but like even like your magic people are doing a lot of auto attacks a lot of the time. Which is fine, but it's just like it feels like you're managing your abilities much more, and like in Pillars 2, like after a battle, all your abilities are back, all your spells are back.
Yeah,
this is like, no, you have to go rest if you want your spells back. You have to go camp for 8 hours or something. Which
that was kind of like
different management.
If you remember D&D Online,
I played it briefly.
Okay, yeah. So the way that worked. So Courtney, this was a D&D MMO, and it was based on the 3rd edition rule set. It was set in Eberron, and what you would do is you would have abilities that you had a limited number of uses, like per rest, basically. It's sort of like we do now in 5th edition, pen and paper D&D. So the idea was, there were specific rest points in a dungeon, and you would have to go find one and then like rest, and that would get your abilities refreshed and like provide you some amount of healing, kind of a thing. And it was basically like the only way to heal if you were a non-spellcaster. Was like you had to go find a rest stop.
You had to find a rest stop.
Yeah, but it had weird things like so because in 3rd edition you couldn't like move, so it required a specific feat in order to move, attack, and then move again. The way they did that was if you were moving while you were attacking, you suffered a penalty to your attack roll. So like you would literally have to like stutter step an attack kind of a thing.
It's like you're playing League.
Yes.
If you're a pro League player.
Yeah. Or sort of OG hunters.
This game,
but yeah,
it's really good. I've been playing it for maybe a week, and I've put in a lot of time, and I'm maybe halfway, not even. So the premise is, it's like this nation wants anybody who wants can go explore this kind of untamed wilderness, and kind of whoever cleans it out the best can be the baron of this land and kind of lay claim to it and be the duke or whatever. So it's very open sandboxy where you can explore whatever. And there's obviously a story to follow and certain quests that are the main story. But you kind of just go along and explore, which is kind of fun. And just random encounters happen all the time. And I'm interested in a lot, like the Pathfinder monsters are a little different from D&D, and they kind of have their own monsters that D&D doesn't have.
Mm-hmm.
And this is playing with Pathfinder is just D&D 3.5 essentially.
Okay.
So playing in that rule set, it's an interesting thing for me just to see it kind of play out that way. And I feel like it's pretty true to the actual rule set, kind of how it goes, because in your little box down on the right side, you can see here's all the rolls and here's how it's way more numbers centric than 5e is.
Yeah.
Way more punch. And Pathfinder is way more about like gear and magic items than D&D is.
Yeah.
Because you have like armor slots that you can just fill up all your slots with magic items. It's not like you can only have 3.
I mean, third edition was still that way.
What? Huh?
I mean, third edition by default was kind of that way.
I see. I didn't play back then, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I wish it had more voice acting. The little bit that's in it is good. It's not like Pillars. Pillars is fully voice acted. It's not.
Well, and you know, they had everybody's favorite nerdy voice actors.
I think all the people they have in this game are good. I haven't looked up to see who it is, and I haven't recognized any of the voices. Okay. But everything's good and it fits. I like the game quite a bit. I would recommend it. If you want like a single player real D&D experience, I would totally recommend this game. And I'm looking forward now to the new one that's going to come out next year or whatever. I'm much more interested in Pathfinder right now too. Not to maybe play as a system, but definitely to steal ideas, and because like I said, I'm totally stealing like monsters and like adventures and maps and stuff from this now. It's just a whole nother thing, because that's what I like to do. I like to steal from everything that all media that I consume for my D&D. So
yeah,
I'm super happy I got into it. Great game. It's good. I can imagine myself putting like 150 hours in this game for sure. Easy.
Nice.
But yeah, that's the synopsis of my last few months.
Okay. So the big thing I alluded to earlier is I have only one Pokemon remaining in Pokemon Sword for my Pokedex. Courtney's working on that for me. It's basically the Shield legendary. So once she's finished with her game, we're just going to trade it over to my game because she won't need it anymore. But that's fine. I mean, unless I decide to global trade station it earlier. But in that case, Courtney, I'll still take the extra one and I can use that to trade for something else.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
But the big thing, basically, that Courtney and I have been doing is whipping up some new D&D characters for a game we're playing in. I say whipping up new. Courtney's actually whipping up a new character. I'm kind of just reprising my old character from Josh's game. But we rolled stats this time, and this is for your benefit, Josh. I rolled the best stats I've ever rolled. So 3 16s. So we're starting at level 3. So I have 3 16s, a 14, a 13, and an 11.
You know what? My feeling on it is, I don't care if you're overpowered. I'm just going to make my encounters that much harder.
Yeah. Well, so
That
the
was
interesting thing
definitely
is,
my philosophy.
I
wrote
decided
not as well.
I'm gonna do something interesting, and I made so as a lizard folk ranger, 16 intelligence.
Ooh, okay.
So I put one of the 16s into my intelligence score. I left charisma the dump stat. I'm like, you know what? This is maybe with a new
Nope.
party, I won't
Nope.
have to be the face.
No, I'm
Maybe.
gonna be the face.
Maybe this time.
I guarantee.
I'm gonna be the
with
face
any other
for this.
group. You won't have to be.
But
No,
Courtney was much less fortunate in her stat rolling.
Yeah, I rolled an 8, 2 10s, 11, a 12, and a 16.
Jeez.
So it's basically like
Yeah.
kind of an average person that's really good at one thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And that thing is going to be what, Courtney?
I'm gonna be a warlock.
It's going to be a
Cha, right?
Cha.
Yeah.
A great old one warlock.
I am a no, things have changed. Things
Last minute switcheroo.
Yeah, no. This is what I did today.
Did you change to a fiend lock?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to like make it seem like that I was pressure driving, but like when you named your character's last name Morningstar and you don't make them a fiend lock, there's kind of something wrong. For podcast listeners that don't know, Morningstar is literally like what Lucifer means. It's like the morning star.
Lucifer's yes. I'm a fiend lock.
Okay.
Yes.
Then I like this concept even better. So you really are just like an average dude that made a bargain with a demon or a devil or whatever. Now you're just like, what have I gotten myself into?
Even worse.
Oh no.
Even worse.
Are you the Ghost Rider?
No.
I love that show. Now you take Ghost Rider.
I know that Sean and I had possibly Sean and I, maybe just in my own head. I don't even know these days. But I had decided that because I am going to be very tired during this game, because I already know that that's going to happen. Me as a player will be tired. It's actually more of, and I want to try and play around with this, but he had a an accident is what we're gonna call it. And he, in real world terms, he developed schizophrenia.
Okay. I would say this is, so you might want to be a little careful.
He experiences voices that are not his own.
Yeah.
He experiences, they are in a typical North American standard or an American standard. These voices are very, very, very mean to him, telling him to do terrible things.
So what you're thinking is that those voices are actually a patron.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
He does not know that is the interesting thing where I'm trying to figure out like the little bits now. But yes, his name is Cedric Morningstar. He's not as old as I was thinking. So about 40s. Salt and pepper hair, 5'9", as I'm imagining him there. But yeah, he's this is gonna be interesting.
Should play Hellblade Said It Was Sacrifice. It's
yes.
really good.
It's out for Switch.
Game before. Yeah, it's really good with like the voices and stuff. And the sequel.
Yeah.
Which is weird. I don't know how they'll do a sequel.
Yeah, it kind of like I kind of actually Sean's help tangentially because I borrowed the Hero Builder book from
Yes. So
3.5.
yeah, or that was before 3.5. That was OG
Oh,
third edition.
wow.
And
Okay,
basically that
yeah.
book it's an odd book. So it was a
It's a
small
great book.
paperback book.
It's a
And
great book.
what it was it's like half filled with basically like how to mechanically build a good character. And then the other half of the book was like random tables for rolling up backstories. And I'm like, this
Yeah.
feels like they could have just cut off the first half of the book and focused more on the second half, because like it's things like, oh, here's a character concept, here's how you would build it in third edition.
Yeah.
With
No,
like what
I
skills you should pick up and how many points to put in them, and these are the feats that you should get, and this and that, and like you should
yeah.
multi-class at this level. And it was like, this is kind of odd advice. And I just totally ignored that entire half of the book.
Oh yeah, I didn't even. I saw that and I was like, wrong edition. Nope. Where do
Yeah.
I go from here?
But the background tables are still relevant.
Maker. Yeah.
And it's actually, so they kind of redid this with Xanathar's Guide, to a much
and
smaller degree.
That's why I still have some stuff to do, because I know that there's some Xanathar's Guide, and I want to see if some things from Xan's fit better than what I have.
So some of the interesting things in Xanathar's Guide are stuff like, so you look at your class, and then it has like a table for if you want to decide randomly or pick a reason, like how did you decide to be that class? How did you end up being this background? Stuff like that. So yeah. But I'm basically gearing my character up in case we can convince the DM to use God, what's that Kickstarter? Dragon Stew, when it comes out in September.
Oh yes.
Because I'm gearing up to have a cooking themed character now.
I have a feeling that this might go quite well.
Yeah.
But
so.
Yeah, I had a.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I'm just.
But I don't want to reveal too much of the backstory, since we're trying to all keep it a little close to the chest. But yeah, I reprised a couple of characters that we met before in Josh's game. Nice. Kind of pull them into my new version of Daristrix's backstory. Basically the ones that were important to Daristrix.
I loved my character previously, but with the level of tired that I am going to be, I cannot play her.
Yeah.
And so like I had originally wanted this character to be kind of like a weird like Professor Farnsworth from Futurama type of thing.
Originally you were thinking fighter, so that you didn't have to. You were going to go champion fighter, so you don't think.
No, and then things just went totally off the rails, and then
don't think, just attack.
Yeah.
Well, I convinced Courtney that it might be fun to play a warlock, but a great old one warlock, since most of them were a bit unhinged anyways. And if she's like out of it from having worked a double shift overnight, that would just be perfectly fine for in character.
I've pretty much found a good way to have that be kind of taken care of.
Okay.
But I originally wanted it to be that, and instead, because you'll find this out in 2 seconds. Instead, he's grew up on a military base. So that was a big change. That was a big shift. Going from just general weirdo to, oh no, some trauma happened here. Yeah, something happened. We don't know what, but something happened.
So yeah.
I'm actually very excited to play Cedric. I believe this is actually going to be my first time playing a male character as well.
Oh.
So this.
My first character ever was female, so.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I am playing a human warlock, man. Like, this is so
Yeah.
against what I've always gone elf or other, like,
Tiny female rogues.
yeah. Yeah, my first character was a halfling rogue.
Yep. That
Um,
explains so much.
yeah.
So,
In 3.5 in an Eberron campaign.
But yeah, and then just a lot of prep for Jamora, plotting out plot points and all that good stuff. So, yeah. And I guess with that we're finished.
Yeah.
I have like a sneeze that's building, and I'm like trying to hold it off.
Oh, quick update on my monster eradication goals in Stardew. I was able to get all of the mummies. So now I am at 33 out of 50 pepperexes, and then I am caught up and have everything.
Purge the Xenos for the Emperor.
It's really hard finding pepperexes. I'm just like doing deep dives in the skull caverns to just try and find.
Sounds like your planet could use an exterminatus.
I just want more. I'm just ignoring
Where's the exterminatus
this.
button?
I'm just ignoring this.
You probably don't get my 40K reference anyway.
I don't, and that's why I'm just ignoring it.
For clarification for listeners, Courtney is referring to Stardew Valley.
Yes, I am referring to Stardew Valley. I don't know what Josh is talking about.
The glory of the Imperium and the God Emperor of mankind.
All right. We gotta cut this off before it gets any further. So, if you would like to hear or see more content from 8-Bit Adventures, be sure to check out 8-bitadventures.com. Over there, you can find artwork, comics, streams, podcasts, and more. If you'd like to help support that content, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/8bitadventures. Patrons can get access to cool stuff like the Speedy and Monty comics, early access to the 8-Bit Adventures comic podcasts, as well as 10% discount on merch.
Yeah.
And you can get that for as little as $1 a month. The opening theme of our podcast is One Up by Professor Shy Guy. You can find his work over at professorshyguy.bandcamp.com. And with that, now we are 100% finished. 103% finished for folks that grew up in the Super NES N64 era.
Wow.
So, without further ado, have fun, everyone. Happy gaming. And enjoy your pie cake.
Bye, everybody.